Can I ask you something? Sure. Do you really hate camping? No, I'm just not very good at it. The Camp Host is a Tubi original written and directed by Henry Darrow McComas and stars Rachel Caldwell as Sadie and Dylan Casey as Ed, who along with their dog Mika, oh wait, no, not that Mika, because that was Micah, and Mika in The Camp Host is actually spelled Meeka. And it's an adorable dog that really just wants to go walkies and just have fun and not get eaten by wild animals, like at a campground, hosted by somebody called The Camp Host, in a movie called The Camp Host. What fucking sorcery is this? So, yeah, The Camp Host, by the way, is played by Brooke Johnson, not Brooke Jensen, not a second-generation wrestler. That is a deep cut for wrestling fans, but nevertheless. So Sadie and Ed basically argue about a lot of stuff in this pretty fancy tricked out van where they're just traveling the goddamn globe, well, the country. You can't drive across the goddamn ocean, at least not until the device is complete, which you don't need to know about, don't fucking ask. But yes, they bring Mika. I'm just going to continue to occasionally reference this because it's funnier than anything in The Camp Host. It's scarier than anything in The Camp Host. Maybe I'm tipping my hands as to how I felt about that. But yes, this Camp Host has some rules. She's obviously off her goddamn tits, as they say across the pond. They say a lot of cool things across the pond. They say the word can't really funny. I can't say it on here, even though it's one of my favorite insults. But the Camp Host has some rules. Pack in, pack out. Don't leave anything, when you go. And also, 10 p.m., lights out. Because it's the witching hour. Let's just say rules are not obeyed and then shit goes south. Look, Tubi Originals, now it's just absolutely getting fucking ridiculous what they're doing because some of them are kind of fun, even if the concept isn't wholly original. Some are just kind of okay, you can have a little bit of a good time. And other ones, are in categories over here like, well, it was a good idea, poor execution, or it was just really, really fucking abysmal with a concept we have seen done so many fucking other times. To the point that you just get sick of every single unlikable douchebag character and every single unlikable douchebag moment. And this movie, it must have been, I don't know, filmed with a fucking douchebag filter because everything, every aspect of this just reeks of douchebaggery. The characters, Sadie and Ed, are absolutely fucking unlikable. I'm not talking about the actors, they're fucking unlikable. Character arcs are absolutely just all over the goddamn map. There's enough material for about 35 minutes maximum, and they stretch this motherfucker out another hour. This is fucking dreadful. Absolutely fucking dreadful. One of the worst things I've seen this year. I'm not mixing words. I really fucking hated this because, one, you can't even be like, okay, this character's doing what they're doing. This Camp Host, she's obviously off her goddamn rocker, and there's enough people around, and we're going to get at least a high body count, or we're going to get whatever. No, we just get people killed in stupid ways and a lot of really stupid bullshit happens. I'm not spoiling anything by talking about the fact that the Camp Host is behind the whole goddamn thing because that, it's basically said in the goddamn description. You break her rules and she goes nuts. They try to add a little bit of lore or backstory and it just becomes more convoluted and comical. And not in a good way, not in a where ha 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 way. It's like, wow, they really fucking thought this was a good idea. Look, standard horror fare is alright. I don't mind if they do stuff like that because at least you can have some fun with it. But my God, this was offensively lazy, boring, and just kept throwing shit at the screen. Tubi Originals tend to do that a lot. The really bad horror offerings tend to just throw shit at the screen and almost imply that maybe we get a sequel, maybe we don't. Why the fuck would you want to make a sequel to this? Why the fuck did anybody think this was a goddamn good idea? This is like if you took Sleepaway Camp 2 and Sleepaway Camp 3, Human Centipede them together, and then took everything out of it except like 10% of the budget. And low budget is not a deal breaker, but goddamn, this is this is bad. This is like if you had the worst Wrong Turn movie just without the inbreds, at least without, well, I don't know, the way they had Brooke Johnson act, that is. She could have been an inbred character for all I care. And look, any of the good ideas were immediately stamped down and destroyed, and none of the kills were creative. None of this was creative at all. Tubi's an ad-based streaming service. You can check it out if you want. I mean, I wouldn't recommend it because it's really fucking awful, and you don't feel for Sadie or you don't feel for Ed. And there's too many convenient things happening, like where it's like, okay, how in the world was nobody found at this particular thing if the police, were aware of a campground like this and nobody investigated what the hell's going on. Like, any of the good ideas are just immediately just burned alive. In fact, this movie should have been burned alive. This movie should have been buried alive. This movie should have never seen the fucking light of day. Terrible. It's absolutely terrible. Getting into spoilers. On Tubi, 3, 2, 1. Spoilers. Okay. In the beginning, there was rap, as our Lord and Savior Dr. Dre once said, and this couple gets killed because they didn't put out the fire. And it was always burning since the world's been turning. And then we see Sadie, we see Ed, and we see Mika! That dog really just looks so annoyed. But anyway, the camp host refers to a pet that she has. What kind? My kind. And oh boy. Frank is an old man that is camping because his wife liked to, but his wife died of cancer. Fuck cancer, just want to say that, by the way. There are 2 drunk idiots, including one guy named Blake, that gets killed in a hilarious way if it wasn't done in one of the Sleepaway Camp sequels. I think Sleepaway Camp 2, but I try to put certain aspects of those movies out of my mind. Yeah, it turns out there's a bit of a backstory about this camp host. She was working as a camp host at Yellowstone, and there were the hot springs, and a girl burned alive, acid and all that. And then Blake's taking a shit. He didn't pick up his trash properly, so she chokes him out with a bag in a hilarious way, and then also stabs him with something and stuffs him in the goddamn toilet, a la Sleepaway Camp 2, I believe. And then Sadie asked, Frank, do you really hate camping? No, I'm just not very good at it. And then Frank gets killed in a hilarious way because they were fucking, because that's something I needed to see in my movie. And no, I didn't. I did not need to see that at all. This was not what they did in X with the elderly couple, and at least you had a nice built story, even if you didn't need to see elderly fucking like that. But good lord. Ed just is in the stall, locked in the stall. Blake is somehow still alive, and he kicks him back in the stall. Nope. He thought he was a demon because he still had the bag on him. So I guess that's how he survived. And they're stupid as fuck. They get interrupted, while arguing by the camp host. And she says, return to your campsite that has all 3 people, or 3 campsites going here. And then they manage to escape. They do manage to escape about halfway through, or a little over halfway through, but they left the dog. Why'd they leave the dog? Because they're fucking idiots, and because this movie was apparently written with the idea that we can make them even bigger idiots, and maybe we'll root for them. No, I'm not gonna fucking root for any of these goddamn douchebags, but they go to rescue Mika! And Ed gets shot in the face. He gets shot and stabbed and attacked multiple times, and somehow doesn't bleed out throughout this entire fiasco. That's right after Sadie yells at the camp host, who apparently Dakota something, I guess. That's the name in the article. That's the closest thing I get. I don't care. She talks about loving nature, communing with nature, respecting nature. She also paints Native American art, clearly with blood from her victims, and also Sadie happens to be Native American, the character. Possibly the actress, too. I'm not here to judge. And you need to play along or you die. Well, this is about 30 minutes left. There's that one other camper guy that's left that plays the guitar. I know he has a name. I just don't fucking care because I don't care about any of these characters. I don't care about any of these fucking people. This is shit in every goddamn aspect. Every conceivable aspect. More couple, they argue for end on end. It's 90% couples arguing. How were they ever able even to find time to not argue on their first date? Who fucking thought this was a good idea? Seriously, I want fucking answers. Anyway, so Ed got KO'd and got talked to almost to death by the camp host lady, Dakota whatever. By the way, there's a kid locked in a cage along with Mika. And Mika's fine, apparently. The kid gets freed to do what he wants any old time. Also, there's this hose that was put in by, I believe, if I'm right, put in by somebody. I mean, I know it was a way to choke people out. Why? Why not? Why the fuck not? Let's just do that. Let's just do everything. God, all this is dreadful. Long host dialogue. And it seems like Ed is done. Nope, Ed's not done. Then suddenly Sadie shows up and punches her out. After getting shot, she's perfectly fine and punches her out in the goddamn river. And where are you from, Thunderbird? Sherman Oaks, bitch. And then Ed has the gun and shoots her. And Ed's gonna die, except he doesn't die. They get rescued because Ed was able to call the cops, and they were able to locate the campground because of a post on his social media, whatever social media it was, because they couldn't afford to fucking say it. And E equals MC squared. Yeah, this movie wishes it was that smart. They get rescued, and the last camper there is killed by the kid, because the kid is apparently a vicious killer. And there you go. Now, 1 year later, they head to Maine. They're fine, but then this other couple shows up, and the camp host is fine. Maybe the kid's playing the camp host. I don't know, and I don't care. The camp host is fucking dreadful, gets an F. One of the worst horror offerings of the year, and I recognize, on a streaming service, you get what you pay for, i.e. on Tubi, nothing. And everybody deserves a chance to make something, however basic, if it's a basic bitch, but God, this is dreadful. F. Agree, disagree, what I said, like, share, subscribe, Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Retlin. I'll see you soon.